Is the game a better rapper than Eminem?
Ooh.
I'm just gonna be point blank with y'all to start this out, okay? Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking. You right there, you. I see you. I see what you're saying, even though I don't know who you are. You said hell no. What the? Why would that even be a valid question? Wait, are y'all smoking crack? Is your crack laced with fentanyl? Like, tell me. I mean, which one is it? Well, guess what, guys? I watched the Game Drink Champs interview, and in addition to me realizing that the Game may be a functioning alcoholic, respectfully speaking, the man was drinking his ass off. He said a lot of interesting things that I think made me want to bring this topic to the table. And Q and I, you talked about this. We talked about this prior to the
what you say?
Dropping.
You said QAnon. QAnon did not talk about this. No, we are not involved with QAnon. Oh, you said Q and I. Okay, my bad. Sorry, my bad. QAnon.
My brother,
what does QAnon want with this convo?
Do you want us to get banned? we already mentioned Ukraine. We mentioned Russia. And we mentioned bots. And now you're mentioning Illuminati organizations.
Yeah, we are not affiliated with QAnon and their crazy beliefs.
Anywho, no, I watched the Drink Champs interview with the Game, and he said a lot of spicy shit, right? Point blank. And I really want to get into this. He claims that he's a better rapper than Eminem. He claims that he used to think Eminem was better than him. And then ultimately he landed on the side of him thinking he's better than Eminem. So without me over talking, let's just jump right into this, Q. I mean, what is your take on whether or not the Game is a better rapper than Eminem? How do you see this?
Well, I'm going to make it quick because at the end of the day, I feel how I feel. You feel how you feel. The people feel how they feel in this very interesting topic. And the way we all feel is bias. I grew up around middle school. At the tail end of middle school is when Game came out with the documentary. The documentary still stands as one of the best hip hop albums I've ever heard in my life. The performance that the Game put up on that album, I thought was phenomenal. His verses were excellent. I mean, think about it. We talked about it on the last episode. We talked about some of the songs that came from that project. How We Do, Hate It or Love It, Dreams. These are 3 or 4 songs that are some of the greatest songs in hip hop history. Then you add West Side Story to the equation. So straight off the bat, the Game has one of the greatest albums of all time. Let's get that out the way. Lyrically, I think the Game has a level of appeal in terms of the way he drops his bars, what he talks about in his bars, his verses, some of the punchlines he drops, the flows that he messes with. He's nice. This is not a story this is not a competition of whether or not, Game is good. We know Game is good. How good is he is the real question. And in my opinion, historically speaking, from a music standpoint, I think he got beat from a musical standpoint. Like, I think the Game makes better music than Eminem. I don't think that's a ridiculous statement. If you look at the history, even after the documentary, you talk about his next album. You talk about the documentary 2. You're talking about Jesus Piece. Like, the Game, there's some songs on there. Even his last project had some fire joints on there. And really good verses. I think Eminem, from a technical standpoint, from a shock value standpoint, definitely got the Game beat. He has multiple people beat. But from my bias standpoint, from what I've heard with my own ears, from the importance of hip hop in terms of, making songs that resonate with people, I think the Game has a better odds of let me not say odds. The Game is better than people think he is. Let me just put it that way. He's an underrated rapper that I do think is better than a good chunk of people that you guys think are the best rappers in the game. I really do think that.
Right.
And it's more about, and I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to mention that because this is more about the game to me. Him being such an underrated rapper than it is about Eminem. You know Eminem. We already know what we get with Eminem. He's done what he's done. Eminem at his peak has been great. But I think the game is very underrated. Is he better than Eminem? I can't quite say that. But from my bias standpoint, I say yes.
Okay, look. So, all right, I respect that. I mean, the thing is this, though. Like, are we looking at this from a bias standpoint or are we looking at this objectively? Because here's how I see it. I look at it like we can be biased all day, which I think everybody is, and there's people who try not to be biased, but at the end of the day, we're all biased. You're gonna veer more towards the shit that you like. Is the game a better rapper than Eminem? Well, it depends on what you're classifying as better. What makes somebody better? Is it their albums? Is it the music that they make? Is it the technical aspect? Is it the punchlines? Is it the rhyme schemes? Is it the delivery? What is the criteria that makes somebody better? Is I think the question that really needs to be asked. Because if we get down to that root question or set of questions, I can confidently say that my criteria for what makes a rapper better is not just about their ability to spit. It's about the music that they produce, the music, the output of the music, the beats, everything, right? I think that Eminem, we all know how supremely gifted of a lyricist, delivery, flow-wise. The man can rap at the speed of light. He does a lot of things on the mic that only a select few of rappers can even do, right? But at the same time, I would be lying to say that Eminem's discography is so incredibly untouchable, because it's not. Eminem's discography has holes in it. It really does. Like his first two albums, I thought were, more than great, right? But I think by the time we got to the Marshall Mathers LP, we get to Revival, you start seeing holes in Eminem's discography and the music output. Whereas I think the game, that's where he shines. The game has a very strong discography going from, like you mentioned, Q, the documentary, Doctor's Advocate, Jesus Piece, the documentary 2. I could even say the Red album was not even that bad. It was pretty good. Even the last album that he said was his retirement album, 1992, that was a good album. I really don't believe the game has ever put out a bullshit album. That's how I'll put it. And so from a discography standpoint, I firmly believe the game has a stronger discography than Eminem. Sue me. I'm speaking facts, okay? It is what it is.
So stronger.
It's stronger, bro.
I wouldn't go as far as to say stronger. I would say he has a more... He has more solid music in his discography. Solid. Because Eminem, we are kind of punishing Eminem for being, I guess, experimental, different. Maybe not necessarily the kind of music I would listen to. But the game has albums and songs that is like, we all like as hip hop fans. We all understand. We don't really have to deep dive. We understand on a surface level, this song is good. This album is good. There's no debate. There's no way you can peel through it and say you didn't have a good time listening to this. But Eminem has albums that I think have changed the game. He has albums that I would say are more impactful, that people took some things away from it that, you probably would not have gotten from other artists. So I wouldn't say his discography. Like I said, I think the music that the game makes is better than the music Eminem makes. Yes. But is his discography more impressive? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Eminem's discography is probably more impressive, But I just think the Game is a better
No.
rapper in terms of. I think he just makes better music. It's almost like saying Drake, right? Is Drake's discography more let's say somebody like Kodak Black, right? I know people are going to say this is blasphemous what I'm about to say, but I think it's actually true. Kodak Black has better albums than Drake. When you look at the totality of all the albums that Kodak Black has dropped, I think he has been able to produce better albums than Drake has. Would I say that his albums are more impressive? He has the more impressive discography? No. It just doesn't work that way in hip hop. Drake's discography is more impressive because there's more things Drake was able to do within his discography. There was more hits within his discography. There's more, songs that resonate with more people in his discography. There's more experimentation. But if you ask me, I've enjoyed listening to Kodak Black's albums more than I've enjoyed listening to Drake's. I think they're better. But
So we're mincing you mincing words right now, right? I gotta disagree with you for many reasons. Number one, you said that Eminem. You said that the Game makes stronger. You said solid. That's the word you used. You said his music is more solid. Well, to me, that is a recipe or a license for me to say he has a better discography than somebody who music is not as solid. Same thing you're mentioning about Kodak Black and Drake. I'm not on board with that. If you want to say you enjoy Kodak Black's music more, listen, go for it. Have a blast. Enjoyability is up to the person. It's subjective. But we have to figure out the baseline criteria for what we're even evaluating.
Well, listen to what I said.
To even say something's more enjoyable. I'm not on board. I think Drake has a better discography than Kodak Black.
I said
for
that.
Many obvious reasons.
But his albums aren't great. His albums aren't more. Kodak Black has good albums.
Historically, I feel like Drake has better albums than Kodak Black.
Okay,
he does.
Okay,
he does. In my opinion,
at the end of the day, I think Kodak Black has better albums. Like, let's say he. Okay, maybe Kodak Black. Let's because I know people are going to be in an uproar when I say something like that. Oh, really, Kodak Black? Let's go to somebody else. Let's say, I don't know, Young Thug, right? Young Thug has a better albums than Drake, in my opinion. He has better albums from top to bottom. I think they're like the word better, right? That's also a subjective word. And
it's all subjective wording, right?
But
right.
Here's how I'm using the word better. The music is more quality. The music is more put together better. The music is more touching than what Drake has made. However, would I say that Young Thug's discography, including all his mixtapes projects, are better than Drake's discography? I can't go that far because Drake has experimented more. Drake has done a wide range of things. Drake's albums have changed the game. So when I say more impressive, no, it's not more impressive. But sorry. I mean, Drake's album is more impressive. Drake's discography is more impressive. But I would say Young Thug has the better discography, right? So going back to Eminem in the Game, here's what I want to do. Here's what I wanted to do.
Please.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Please.
Pros and cons. All right. So we all talk about the Game and in a positive light. We all talk about Eminem in a positive light. Can we talk about the pros and cons of both? So let's talk about the pros.
Do it.
Here's what I'm going to say. The pros to the Game is, I mentioned it earlier, a very appealing rapper. Really knows how to make good music, right? One of the best, relatable, one of the best voices in hip hop. Like, he has a crisp, like perfect hip hop voice. The cons, and here's what I think actually holds him back, and I've been saying this for years, he name drops too much on his songs. Way too much name dropping. Number two, he morphs into so many different people. Like, sometimes he sounds like Gucci Mane. I've heard a song he sounds like Gucci Mane. I've heard a song he sounds like Nipsey. I've heard a song where he sounds
Biggie.
like Biggie, Pac, Dre, Nas. So people are kind of like, who are you? We don't really know the exact game. That's his cons, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't put him on like their top 10, top 15 list, because they kind of see him as somebody that emulates people. But I personally, like I said, my pros for him is great rapper, outstanding punchlines, very appealing, and knows how to put a song together. So that's the pros and cons. I don't know if you want to give the pros and cons of game, and then we can do for Eminem.
Well, look. I echo a lot of the pros that you just mentioned, right? I'll add on to that though. Makes he understands how to produce music. I'm not saying beats. Like I'm saying he understands how to put together music clearly. Like there's a reason why his albums end up being so good. He has an ear for he has an ear for music. He does.
He does.
And I don't think you can really take away that, And so I also think though, to add on, you said good rap voice, you said delivery. I want to throw in rhyme scheme and bars. I think the game is a very underrated rapper in that regard than people want to give him credit for. You listen to the newest song Easy with Kanye West. Yo, there's so much shit that could probably go over your head on that. He even name drops in that song, but he used them names as metaphors.
Yeah.
Like he was talking about Todd Dolla $ign and YG and I mean, but those were metaphors for something else. So you thought he was name dropping because he was, but it just tells you like the level of rap that he's actually at right now. But anyway, those are pros. I agree with your cons though, for sure. And I think that's a really strong con too that really holds him back. That him morphing into other people, that's a problem, and it's always been a problem. But at the end of the day, is that enough to hold him back versus a Eminem or somebody else? We'll get into that. I think let's move on to Eminem. I want to start off the pros and cons with Eminem, if you don't mind, because I think it's important. For Eminem, I think it's obvious the man is a mutant when it comes to rapping. His delivery, his cadence, his just the flows, all of those intricate details when it comes to like what sets a supreme rapper apart from the next. Eminem is like amazing at that. And then secondly, Eminem is entertaining. Let's just put it out there. There's a reason why he was Slim Shady back in the day, having the whole like entertainment aspect, the viral aspect before social media was a thing. He's entertaining. I believe he's more entertaining than game. And that's a huge part when it comes to a rapper. We leave that out a lot, is the entertainment aspect. I don't know if you want to throw in any pros right now before I move into cons. It's up to you. How you want to do this?
Pros, I mean, yeah, we can do that. Pros, I think another pro is that he's fearless in terms of there's no boundary he's not afraid to cross. He understands who he is. I think that's a big thing that I guess with what we said about the game, the game's a fantastic rapper, but he's morphed into all these different type of people in his music. The Eminem is Eminem. He is who he is. You can't compare him to anybody. I mean, the people that sound like him have emulated him. He's not going out emulating anybody else. He's stuck to who he is. And so that's a big, big, big pro. And then Eminem, at the end of the day, he's just more willing to hop on anything. I mean, Eminem has hopped on a Rihanna song. He's hopped on a Big Sean song. He's hopped on, like, he doesn't care what the situation is. He's going to plug in his zany raps and crazy flows and do his thing. So I do applaud that. So those are some of the pros I would say.
Okay, that's cool. So in terms of cons, I think to me the ones that stand out for me when it comes to Eminem is he's unrelatable to, I think, a lot of hip hop fans. When I say hip hop fans, I don't mean the ones who clearly relate to him. I think that historically his perspective in rapping is not something that we look to Eminem and say, damn, yo, you heard what he said? I felt that. You rarely feel what Eminem is saying. I think that's a huge con for me, because one of the things about rappers that I think is high up there in the criteria list is how well your words paint pictures. what is the imagery I get from the words that you choose to use as a poet slash rapper? I feel like a lot of times I listen to Eminem, I'm left empty. Like I don't gain anything. There's no takeaway other than me being exhausted from his fast rapping. I swear. Like I'm trying not to sound negative, but like I end up feeling that way a lot of times when it comes to Eminem. And that's a problem for me a lot of times. And then secondly, I think listen, at the end of the day, we got to start holding these legends accountable, right? And calling history how it truly should be remembered. When it's all said and done, I think the biggest thing about Eminem that people are gonna knock is his catalog is not that strong. I'm telling you, like it's a fact. And that's not to say that he didn't put out great albums in the beginning. The Marshall Mathers LP, all the Slim Shady projects, like really his first 3 albums. I think those were dope. After that, though, it gets really, really shaky, and that's going to be a problem for him. But what would you say is a con of his? And we can move on. We can go to the next topic right after this.
Well, I mean, a con, obviously, I mean, nobody wants to say it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. A con for him is that he's a white rapper. When you're a white rapper, there's always going to be these stereotypes that come with that. Uphill climb you got to overcome to even succeed. And I think that's where the game has the advantage there. This is just God. This has nothing to do with anything else. But, at the end of the day, like the game is a black man. His music is going to relate to black people. Hip hop is black. So, a lot of times, Eminem is just, he, at the end of the day, would never be able to understand the struggle and what black people go through. And so it sucks, but that's a con. The fact that he's a white rapper. I don't know if that's a con, more so of just that's what the situation is. I'm not saying that's
I don't know
bad.
if I call it a
it's
con.
not bad. It's just more so like that's kind of the thing that holds him back.
I hear you.
And then also, Eminem, I think what it is Eminem, we want our, in this day and age, and this is probably Jay-Z's fault. In this day and age, we want our rappers and MCs to grow. Like Nas, the growth, seeing what he's talking about, investments, and like talking about like I'm having dinners with mob bosses and stuff like that. Like we're not even on that young kid stuff. Like Nas has grown with his content, and his rapping style has grown with him. Jay-Z, same thing, has grown. Rick Ross, and I'm not putting them in the same category, but he's another older rapper, successful older rapper, grown. Even Nipsey was going there. And I think that's what people were so excited about Nipsey was he was showing a level of growth from that Crenshaw guy to that now like boss that's dabbling with Adidas president and all that stuff. Eminem is one of the few top MCs, along with Lil Wayne, that, just hasn't really necessarily grown as an artist, as a rapper. His content just kind of still seems zany and the same. I think that's a big con about him. At the end of the day, I'm just going to close it out and say this. If you would have asked me this question about 15 years ago, it wasn't even close. Eminem was significantly better than most of his competition. I always talk about Renegade. He bodied Jay-Z. I don't care what anybody says. Eminem blew Jay-Z out on that song. Eminem also, I'll never forget. Think about The Way I Am. I get the rhyme scheme, the flows, the wordplay he was using on that song. I would get literally blown away. Or even remember the verse he had on Biggie, the 7 different levels: the devil worshiping horse's head, human sacrifices, animalism, cannibals having sex with no animals, mammals, and rabbits. But I don't get in that. I kick that habit. I just like that's freaking sick. I got a lion in my pocket. I'm lying. I got a 9 in my pocket, and baby, I'm just dying. Like that was stuff only Eminem was doing. So if you talk about that Eminem, unbelievable. But we got to factor in the Eminem that did songs like Ass Like That, you got to factor in the Eminem that did songs like, the one with Ed Sheeran and all this. So it's not, so It's closer than what people think, but I think it's just more so because Eminem has kind of, not been the same type of killer rapper he was back then.
Look, man, I'm gonna close this out to say, it's up to y'all. I want to know what you guys think. At the end of the day, I'm kind of leaning more towards the game. I'm gonna be honest with you, but here's how I'll end it out. I'll say, this reminds me of a famous quote in actually this shit's been going on for a long time, including in Batman. Everybody said this, but essentially, you either die a hero / legend,
or you live long enough
to become the villain.
Exactly.
I think that Eminem is a product of his longevity, kind of to your point that you're just making, right? And this is why this is even a conversation. Give credit to the game for even having longevity enough to be here as well, because he's been here for a very long time too. Give him credit. But you guys, I think this is closer than y'all think, man. But we want to know what y'all think on social media. And in general, man, engage with us. Q, let's kick off the next topic.
I'm ready for war. I'm ready for war. I got machetes and swords for any to say that was wrong. Woo! Woo! Y'all need to listen to that verse, that Eminem verse on Dead Wrong. That joint is crazy.